problems we face as Nigerians unite us more than the little sentiments that we have. The rising cost of living unites us. The rises in prices of foodstuffs unite us. Then why are we now using one small thing to divide everybody when we have one thing we should be fighting for? Today, the NLC is telling us that in 5 days' time, or rather 4 days' time, that is on the 3rd of October, they're going to be going for indefinite strike, and it's going to affect anybody. If we go for that strike, nobody wants to know if you're an Igbo person, if you're an Hausa person, if you're a Yoruba person, or even if you're from Akwa Ibom State. Nobody wants to know, because it affects everybody in the state. And this is why this governor is calling on everyone, please, let's sheath our swords. Let's not take advantage of the vulnerability of our citizens. Let's not use this condition, to breed problem in the state. Because without peace in a state, we cannot succeed. Because without peace in the state, my idea, the Arise agenda, would not be properly implemented. That is why he is appealing to everybody. Please and please, let there be peace. Let there be peace in our lives. Let there be peace in our soul. Let there be peace in everything that we do. Even the Bible will tell us that we should pursue peace with all men. This is it. Let there be peace. And this is a Akwa Ibom mandate, a program which does justice to information dissemination, which is a veritable tool for development. And one thing on this program is that we make sure we bring up factual information and then we dish it out. I am Otinaka Chukuzoma, and under the mandate of Ambassador Samson Akpan, I'll be steering this wheels today. But I'm not alone. With me is Kufre Isemen. Kufre, you're looking so good with this bones. I hope one day you dash me this bone.
Good morning, Otinaka.
Good morning. So, Kufre, before we step into our conversation, because today we would dive into a very critical sector in the economy, which would help in making sure that people get empowered, which would help in making sure that Akwa Ibom State becomes a state which is independent. When I talk about independence, in terms of its citizens, they are able to feed themselves, they are able to feed people, and then they are able to invest. We would be looking at that critical sector, and we would be having a telephone conversation with Mrs. Meflin Awana. But before we get into that, Kufre, I would love to ask you, what has been your take over the past weeks? This thing has been trending, and I asked myself, is this for the unity of Akwa Ibom State? Would this bring peace to the state, or would this even bring development? Will it bring progress to the state?
Yeah, good morning, Akwa Ibom. It's very important to note that the trade and the Ibom Ignite is to unite Akwa Ibom. It's to empower people, the young ones. So it is very, very important that we bring this educative program to you today, and we will be doing justice. Bring someone who happens to be the chairperson, branding and marketing, and also for communication, in charge of the Ibom Ignite. And also she has worked so hard to in this position. She was one time the special assistant to the governor, the former governor, on media, and she was also senior special assistant to the former governor on entrepreneurial development. She's going to brief the whole public, everyone today about the latest development that we have in Akwa Ibom State. So, Odinaka, yeah, back to your question, it is very pertinent. It's not just a thing of one person. It's very important that our youths listen, key into the project, and also what the governor has to offer in Akwa Ibom State today.
Let the youths key into what the governor has to offer. The governor in his speeches at Ibom Ignite, in one of what he said at Ibom Ignite, he said that he never attended public events. He was never into politics. Like for a whole 25 years, a stretch of 25 years, he was busy investing in himself. That he wants to grow a people. He wants to groom a people who do not believe that for it is only when you get into politics before you make the money. You need to make the money even before getting into politics, so that when you get into that position, you know that it is for service.
Odineka, we Akwa Ibom people are conversant who listen to this program are conversant listening to us and hear us speak, and most times they will say Odinaka get down, and Abad will bring someone that will be talking to Akwa Ibomites and let us know, tell the Akwa Ibomites how it all started in 2017 when the governor, when he was not yet a governor, how he started the old Ibom Ignite, the program and everything. And we have we are having a star guest today and on the telephone interview. Due to one or two reasons, she's unable to be on the studio live with us, but she's live with us now. Good morning, Mrs. Meflin Awana.
Good morning. Nice to be with you this morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. Madam, Akwa Ibomites are interesting and they wish to know Akwa Ibom Ignite. When did it really start? Can we have a brief history of Ibom Ignite before now?
Thank you very much. Politics today. Today we're talking entrepreneurship, development, and what's going on with youth development in Akwa Ibom State. Prior to this time, the Governor, Pastor Umoino, embarked on this passion project of his some time back, even as a pastor. It started as a gathering, pretty much a church program, and when he was a bit nearer to when he got nearer to the campaign period, he was able to continue with this gathering. But of course, knowing that he was going to get in on the higher calling of being the governor of Akwa Ibom State, he was able to expand it to encapsulate other frameworks of the society. And that included, of course, the youth development, the enterprise development, business incubation, reaching out to people, young entrepreneurs with grants and all of that. So it's been an interesting journey for him. So it's like I said, it's a passion project, meaning that even after he exits government, he will still continue this movement. It's been an amazing journey from the gathering to what we have as Ibom Ignite.
Yeah, it has been an interesting one having someone who did not wasn't into government started a program, a project, and it is time Ibom Ignite, February 2017. And Mrs. Meflin Awana, if I would like to ask, talking about the trade fair that is also going on with Ibom Ignite, can you give us a brief insight about the Made in Akwa Ibom? That just is it still ongoing or is just concluded?
Okay. Clearly, the vision of the governor on this particular platform is to see young people everywhere achieve purpose by transforming their thinking, igniting their passion, and of course tapping their latent entrepreneurial capacities. He intends to also scale young women in business, and so when this application was up for everyone, of course you've seen that it's always an open-ended affair where people can apply to attend. You apply to attend, apply to pitch, or apply to showcase, and of course, even engage in brand participation outrightly. I think this particular event was pretty much open to the entire population. You can't build the nation all by yourself. So when you're able to have a come together of civil organizations or individuals, brand and corporations, coming together to join this particular passion is an amazing concept. So these young women who came to showcase their businesses came as a result of that, to be able to showcase their Made in Akwa Ibom product. The governor is very committed to promoting Made in Akwa Ibom products. Some of them are involved in custard making. Some of them are involved in shoe making. Some of them are involved in thrift. Made in Akwa Ibom thrift. Interestingly, that's what you call Bell, where you you open and close. You understand? But now that is, happening in Akwa Ibom. And this one, you don't need to travel in and then, bring it in. But someone is able to put that together here. We also had Ankara pieces in the showcase. It was quite interesting to see young women also weave hair, what you have to buy on Instagram sometimes, and that was pretty much very interesting to the governor. For him, his commitment to youth development is stellar, is unwavering, and that is why you see all of that even happening at IBOM-led. Just before the IBOM Ignites showcase, you had the governor attend the trade fair at IBOM-led, where you saw the Ministry of Trade and Investment also collaborate with the faculty of IBOM-led to put all of that together. You saw that commitment of 250 million naira. Just to be able to not just train these entrepreneurs who came to showcase, but also make it easy for them to have access to funding, seed funds, registrations for CAC where necessary, and of course, project-based assistances where necessary. All of these things are going to be consensuously done, followed through by the faculty at IBOM-led, and of course, seeing that conversion of the library, of course, and also, pretty much keeping the part of the library there still, but bringing that involvement of training into that facility, then you see that it's very obvious that the government of Akwa Ibom State is very particular about youth development, and that massive investment cannot be overlooked.
Mrs. Maflin, talking about the 250 million naira the governor has instructed that should be disbursed or distributed to the participants. How will this money be disbursed? In what basis will it be disbursed?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, you will hear all of that. Everything always happens in an open-ended format. When the call for those, the processes would, be reeled out, it will be announced by the two faculties I just engaged, I just talked about. That is the Ministry of Trade and Investment, and of course the IBOM-led faculty. So all of that will be reeled out to the public. And like I said, remember, he went stall after stall, to see those things there. So this is not going to be an open-ended affair. It should be pretty much people that actually came on that day. Okay, so they will simply be called, trained, positioned for business trade in a better, dimension, and also, be exposed to business, financial literacy and basic business, ideas. You understand? So they can actually scale better. The governor's intention is to be able to take some of our early startups to mid-range, and of course existing businesses to unicorn status, and that is the vision, going forward. So it's pretty much a robust engagement from his own part. And of course, you see that, all of that played out even at the IBOM-led, like I said, and of course the IBOM Ignites conference. So the conference also had participants go back home with millions of naira, like you saw. I'm sure you've seen the pictures. Winner got 2 million naira. We still had more people getting the millions to support their businesses. You understand? And it's also particularly a great thing to mention that the governor's wife, office of the governor's wife, also made that contribution to young women in business. She didn't just come there to see them, to shake hands with them, but she was able to support those women who came out to showcase their business. And so all of this shows that in the next 4 years, this is the kind of thing we'll be experiencing, going forward.
Talking about training, Mrs. Meflin, aside of people who attended the conference, and the governor also made a mention of bringing Harvard Business School to be in Akwa Ibom. How will the general public, the populace, participate in this training, aside of those who were unable to attend or register for IBOM Ignite?
Oh, yes. So IBOM Ignite, remember, is a passion project of the governor. Don't forget. And this has a relative function pretty much different from what you're going to be having at the IBOM-led. The IBOM-led is your business school, it's your typical business school. And so he said that instead of thinking you must travel all the way to Harvard and the rest of them, he's been able to make that facility available. That cooperation is in action right now. The collaboration is in view and in focus right now. All of those schools and all of those high-minded framework that you're actually trying to project will be, positioned at IBOM-led. And so an average Akwa Ibomite can simply walk in and take any advanced course or whatever course you want to take. I'm sure that what you see there is a facility, and in the course of this administration, you will see that all of these things will play out, starting from the training of the people that came for the IBOM Trade Fair, and also the fashion hub you have at the IBOM-led facility that has and houses young entrepreneurs who are shoemakers that will be making shoes and uniforms for children in public schools in Akwa Ibom State. I think it's something very amazing, to see the governor drive that creative ingenuity to be able to put money into the hands of young people, and also not just put money into the hands of young people, train them, but also empower them to be able to understand that if you have something to do, say you know how to make shoe, for an example, say you know how to sew a uniform or sew a cloth, for an example, we can do this together, and all I'll have to do is, hey, come to the fashion hub, get this thing done, tell us you can do this morning and night shifts, and that happens. And so that is going to be very fluid, considering the number of public students you have in the secondary institutions across the states.
Thank you, Mrs. Meflin. When Odinaka in the studio wants to ask a very vital question. Odinaka, go ahead.
Thank you so very much. Good morning, Mrs. Meflin.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you've just mentioned about putting money in their hands, and then we know this IBOM ignited for a year. There was something you did under the last administration, which was DECO, where people pitched their businesses. Will we be seeing a replica of such things in this administration?
I think what we've seen is an expansion of what happened in the last administration. So you see that expansion by that investment you're seeing at IBOM-led. That's a huge facility, and that's a big statement, as it were, for you to have the government decide to convert that engagement to that facility. That's massive. That's to show you the interest of governments for the young people and for the youth. So it's.
Hello? Oh, it's like it's network. Definitely, we've been having some poor network connections. Don't know, Kufra, if you could still get back to her.
Definitely, I am trying to do that. Okay, she's here.
At this level, the governor is looking out. Can you hear me there?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay, am I like, okay, great. So, the government is driving robust partnerships with global institutions, like you earlier heard him say, government agencies, of course, corporate bodies, religious groups, other spirited individuals, and of course brands, to provide youth with this ample resources that will drive skills, engagement, knowledge-based engagements, empowerment, mentoring through conferences, seminars, and of course exhibitions, as you have seen. So it's going to be an expanded scope of what happened in the last administration.
Mrs. Meflin, our nature in this very program, Akwa Ibom Mandates on Planet 101.1 FM, we allow listener to also call in and air in their own contribution. I don't know if you'll be able to hold on. We can take few calls, and also people can ask questions.
Oh, great. We're open to that.
So we
Okay, Mrs. Maflin Nawana, I still have another question to ask you. What mechanism, because we've seen over time that some of these entrepreneurs, after they've been empowered, they go back to sell the empowerment benefits that has been given to them. Maybe if it's a generator, they could go back, sell it. If it's a money, they could invest it in some other things. What mechanisms are there in making sure that they are accountable to these funds that have been given to them, and also making sure that their results, it is result driven?
We lost that connection again. Odinaka, let me call her. Why? Odinaka, can you please call the phone line so that why I put a call across to her again?
So to join us on this program and speak with Mrs. Maflin Nawana is 090-222-31011.
Talk about what mechanism that
that has been put in.
What you heard the governor say, even at the level of IBOM Ignite Conference 2023, entries of 10,000 participants, that's showing you the large number there. And we also had entries for application for pitch competition that happened at IBOM LED. So participants always have to go through a robust process.
Is that network?
We're having difficulties in network.
So we've been actually having difficulties in network connection, but despite that, the program would still go on. And please do call in. Let's have your take on this, because this is one governor who believes that for us to go forward, for us to move forward, we need to invest in our youth. Not our youth going out there, to become mercenaries for destructions, to become mercenaries for things which are not of benefit to the state. But as a youth, you need to go out there and become part of this project.
You have the democratic right to call in and also ask. You have the democratic right, if you are listening to us now, to call and also hear out your question, your contribution, as we still have Mrs. Maflin Nawana on the line. So, Madam, please proceed with the last question Odinaka asked.
So,
yes. So we're talking about the process, the robust process that is always engineered to actually get these things done, and how people are not going to be able to do what you said. So for the crop of entrepreneurs being trained at IBOM LED, there is a full-scale EDP that runs there, an enterprise development program that runs cohorts, that has been running for the past years, and of course lots of people are aware of the MEGP program, for an example, that has also turned out several people, and now transiting into IBOM LED. So you have a culture of entrepreneurship that has been fine-tuned and of course engaged in a proper manner. So we don't just walk into the streets to get just anybody. The scale, robust process. You go through the trainings, you go through the orientation, and of course there's a mentorship team and faculty that would have to sit in with you to understand what you're doing, go right to where you actually have the business place. That is where you have your business, yeah, and then go through that oversight function. And once that is done, you come right back to the pitch. You scale out of maybe 400 to 1,000 people who entered in for the competition. You're able to be first 10. Okay, so for you to go through that route, that shows you that there's a robust process before you get that. So definitely you're not going to leave that place and you go sell the machine, sell the misuse the money, for an example, because it's actually properly engaged and engineered. So because it's conscientiously done, that is not going to happen. Not even under the leadership of Pastor Moino, governor, who is very lettered, very meticulous, very procedural, and very committed to seeing results at first scale. He'll follow through to the name of the person. He'll follow through to what that person does and the details. So he's not just someone. He's not a walkover. So that's the same spirit that the entire faculty, of IBOM LED pretty much deploy in, engaging that practice. So it's always very robust. And I can assure you that the people who actually emerge
place for the youth of Akwa Ibom State, what will be your advice to the youth?
I always tell people, firstly, have a global mindset. Yeah, start from where you are, but then have a global mindset, and don't think small at all. Do you? And when you come to the system, please disrupt the system. You're not coming to tell us, hey, how you doing? But, this is real work. It takes a lot of resilience, anti-fragility, You gotta have to be anti-fragile, yeah. You gotta have to be resilient, perseverant. You gotta have to be tenacious. You have to be determined, to succeed. Because we, in this particular, where we are, you can't be depending on government. You cannot be depending on government. You won't even try. Don't even begin to imagine it. In fact, government has been waiting for you to rise up to your greatness so that they can actually see the value in what you do and also collaborate with you. So what you need to do is look for that problem that is just around you, solve that problem, make it local, national, and then global. Have those milestones
Mrs.
capture and focus, and then of course keep going. You're gonna make it.
Mrs. Mifflin, please, we have a
caller.
Okay, great.
Good morning. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
All right. I'm Pastor Bobby calling in from you.
Please, could you speak up?
Good morning.
Good morning, Godwin.
All right. I want to say something here. I have heard what Mary Anwana has done. That's from the days of the immediate past governor. But one thing is lacking. A lot of youth have been empowered. You still hear people come to radio stations to say, the immediate capital development, zero. There has not been any wide publicity. What I want to say now is, what has stopped you from having a radio program of 1 hour? Real are the number of youths you have trained, those you have empowered, so that people will hear and know it. Because people don't, and they still say that nothing was done, nothing has been done to the youth, no youth has empowered. That's the problem I'm having. It should not be the problem with the present governor. Please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much, Mrs. Mifflin. And when I would respond to that. Yes.
In the States in the last 8 years, then I don't think it's something to hide. It's public knowledge that in the past 8 years, that drive for the spirit of enterprise to be engaged.
Mrs. Mifflin, Mrs. Mifflin, if I want to say something, what they call you have a program like we have the town show that is closer to the people, at least an hour program to brief the people, educate the people of what the government has done or what the government is doing in terms of human capital development.
Yeah, I was getting to that. That's why I had to start that conversation like that. Okay. That's why I started by saying what I said. That firstly, it's not an over. It can't be overemphasized that it was very of public knowledge that the spirit of enterprise was across the states. Yeah, and now you go into this administration, and that has also been expanded and of course scaled up. Now, what is the part of the citizen and what's the part of the government? Would you say that the Ministry of Information has not been able to reel out the fact that human capital development has been a core part of these administrations? No, you can't say so. So these human capital programs every other time, what the faculty of Ibom-led would do, or what other people...
Mrs. Mifflin, we have another caller. Can we take this last call? Mrs. Mifflin, we have another caller.
Would do is basically to keep doing their work. Business is serious. Business is not drama. You understand? So while we do what we do, there's another person that does all of that. So
Mrs. Mifflin, please hold on your thoughts. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Please, your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from
Jeppe is my name.
Okay, please go on.
And it is very, very unfortunate when I hear things like this on radio. I feel so bad. Because there's a slogan that says that the son of a gorilla dances like the father of a gorilla. Like the previous administration, there was a program that was aware, and it was briefing from agriculture. I was aware to that system, and then they said that they would let us to establish our own farm and do everything that we should do. But we are not that system. Our names were being published on the national dailies that we were the first beneficiaries of that anchor program.
Okay, Mr. Jeffrey, please ask your question.
But that money was not given to us. So now that this one is coming now, I don't want to browsing on the same level that they are going, because they will now allow to you that they have empowered they use names. Leave it as local government by local government and first so that people will be receiving it and know that you are doing the same thing. Do you know anything to ask me?
Please, could you repeat your question again?
I said, as they are telling now that they want to do another empowerment, at least to make the youth, to bring the youth out from those business. But now that they are saying this, most of the youth previously have been sent out to go and learn a trade. And then after the students will be given to them for them to establish their businesses. But at the tail end of the day, it wasn't given. But the names were being published on the national daily that they have taken the first beneficiaries of 500,000 naira. And another time, this man that was from the movie industry came in to give us the commissioner that was taken care of. He doesn't even win and he decided and was hoping to them through. So please, if you are doing anything and you want the people to know that you are coming in with a different style, put the name on each local government and let us know whom you are trained and whom you have given the money to. Because my name was being published in national daily during the then regime that they are giving me 500,000 naira, but nobody gave me a penny.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so
Can I
much.
respond to that?
Yes, ma'am, you're free.
Okay, firstly, Anchor's Borough, he's talking about is a federal government program. It's a social program of the federal government. That's firstly. He's talking about the fact that we should be able to publish local government by local done. All programs, social impact programs of government is always done across the local government in the state. Across. So when you say, even for Ibom Ignite conference, we had entries from Okobo, entries from Urefom. They came all the way. So the government areas, they were published as at that event of process. You asked for the